Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Join Justin Townsend and the Harvesting Nature crew as they explore the world of cooking wild fish and game while sharing recipes, tips, tricks, and lessons learned from their pursuit of wild food. We sure hope you ate before the show, 'cause you're gonna leave hungry. This is the Wild Fish and Game Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wild Fish and Game Podcast. Your host here, Justin Townsend. We are here recording live with our good buddy Chris.
Hi.
We are filming on location in Missoula, Montana. We've spent the last 5 days, I lost track of time, at the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers annual Rendezvous. Quite the event. We'll talk. Each of us participated in some extent in the field to table. So we had a few days with the booth and hung out, and Adam competed in the cooking competition. And so we'll kind of break down a little bit of that as we go. And then at our booth, we had a bunch of blank slips of paper and asked people to provide us food questions. So we've got about 14 of those we'll go through real quick and break that all down. But I guess real quick, just to kind of get a good idea of who's here, if you're listening or watching, just share sort of your highlights, ups and downs, and introduce yourself from Rendezvous. Who wants to go first?
Rikki.
Hi, I'm Rikki. This weekend was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun, and we are all so tired. It was just get up and go. Late nights, early mornings. The booth was really amazing. Saw some old friends, met a lot of new ones, I think, made some great connections. It was just great to see everybody.
Yeah. Adam Steele.
Hey, I'm Adam. I've been here a little longer. We started hunting bears earlier in the week, so I'm a little extra tired. But yeah, had a great time. This is the 5th year I've cooked for Rendezvous.
You cooked 1 year in 20 before me, right?
No, we started the same year.
So that was 21 then.
2021, yeah. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2025. Year number 5.
Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, time flies. So next thing you know, 5 years has gone by, and we're all, here again, and you get to see people you only see once a year, and it's long, but in reality, it's too short of a time to be spending with some of these people that you only get to see every once in a while. So.
Yeah, it's
always
cool.
a pleasure.
Chris?
Yeah, Chris Whonsetler. I'm here with OK's Cook, shooting photos primarily and just watching you guys do your thing. Like, it was so cool, just 100% behind the scenes, like the shopping, the prepping, the cooking, the serving. I learned a lot. Met a lot of really, really cool people, a lot of really cool chefs. Had a ton of new food. I've never had iguana. I've never had black bear. Never had javelina.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Absolutely loved it.
I'm glad you got to join us. Thanks for setting up the podcast for us.
Thanks for letting me tag along.
Everybody be sure to go check out Chris's podcast, The OK's Cook. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, sir.
I guess that's the standard thing.
Yeah, they're about YouTube.
Yeah.
Search it. We're there.
So I guess we'll start off a little bit with field to table. So we each cooked different. I guess since you're doing appetizers, you want to start with appetizers?
Sure.
Maybe we'll just go by course.
Yeah. I made an elk sausage gyoza with ramps and wild porcini mushrooms. We deep fried that. Super tasty. Had to do some game time changing of ingredients because Missoula was completely out of ponzu sauce. So I ended up doing a sweet chili sauce instead, and then added the ramps and the porcini mushrooms into the gyoza itself.
Honestly, yeah, I think the sweet chili sauce was a good move because it was less
So good.
drippy.
Yes.
And it added the ramps and the mushrooms were already very savory, and I feel like ponzu is going to bring a lot of like savory umami forward anyway. And so the chili sauce brought some different elements that like opened
And
up
color.
that dish. And color too.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise you just had a
gorgeous.
lot of brown. Wow, Adam,
Good morning.
what did you?
We got a lot of wild pigs down there in Florida, so I've done alligator a couple times with these, and I always feel that that's the easy choice. So I had to switch it up this year and did wild pig, which is also an easy choice, I guess. I don't know.
It's
Lots of
delicious
both in
choices.
Florida. Yeah, but it's, you know, when you're cooking for 100 people and having to execute all those plates at once and having to make them look good, making it easy is not a bad thing. Just making it consistent. So we did heart of palm hummus, took some hearts of the palm trees and added the tahini paste and a little lemon juice and did a heart of palm hummus. Fried plantains, and then I took the pig and took the back hams and did a wet cure with cane sugar and smoked those, so you get that sweet, salty, smoky. And I took the rest of the pig and cut it into like 1-inch cubes, marinated in a mojo seasoning, wild white grapefruit, and wild sour oranges, and then cooked that off on a flat top so it had a nice char to it. And then did like a chimichurri and a chamoya sauce.
Yeah.
So you had like the sweet, salty, a little bit of sour, smoky, all the textures, crunchy with the tostones, creamy with the hummus. So
Solid.
something different that people don't get. And with a lot of those heavy flavors, having that citrus in there, every year that's something that seems to be break things up a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're well known for that down there, so it's hard not to incorporate that.
Breaking things up or citrus?
Both. It's Florida after all.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I closed out the main courses with a adaptation from a recipe in our book, in the sausage book, The Art of Venison Sausage Making. You know, you can get it on Amazon too. Fun fact. I made a mala Szechuan sausage and did an interpretation of a British dish called toad in the hole. But what I ran into is normally that's just served kind of in a big pan and you just scoop it out and you get a serving of, it's essentially like an egg and milk batter that rises kind of like a souffle, and then you have the sausage in the middle and it kind of comes up, hence the toad in the hole. But the mala Szechuan is a sausage from China, from Szechuan province in China, and we, in the book, made a venison version of it, which is pretty tasty. And with that, the batter too had some Chinese 5-spice and things like that, but we couldn't serve a big old portion, right? I didn't want something I could just slop out onto a plate, so we made it inside of a fish tin, which was really cool. So we had 100 little fish tins with 100 little sausages and hundreds of ounces of batter, lots of it. And then on the side, because too, like Adam, you know, mixing things up, because everybody hunts and fishes, it's always very protein forward. And I was like, oh, I want to bring some balance of some veggies. And so I made a Chinese chili oil salad. So it's just cabbage and carrots and celery, tossed in chili oil and I think soy sauce and some rice wine vinegar, and just kind of like really cool, yummy salad. And it's fresh, completely raw. Serve that on the side in a little tipped over Chinese food takeout box. And so I think everybody had fun with the presentation of that. Thank you. And I enjoyed it. And I topped it with some crispy garlic and some sesame seeds, which gave some more like fun crunch. I really enjoyed it. I don't know, do you guys have real quick any favorites foods from the field to table that stand out in your mind of like, this was the best ever? It doesn't have to be mine.
Bear fat biscuits.
Yeah.
Those are
were
solid.
really good.
Gobbler cracklings.
Gobbler
That
cracklings.
was crazy.
Yeah.
On, what did you serve it on?
It was a bourbon mascarpone cake, like a frozen cake, and I don't know what the sauce was.
Just cracklings on a cake.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
The
cool.
gobbler, like the candied gobbler cracklings. When I heard he was going to do that, I got real excited.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I took all the skins off my turkeys and donated it to the cause.
it's really, really phenomenal. And then, yeah, I think just overall it was really great. Teller's always a great venue. You like walk right outside the
Gorgeous.
door and you're at the
Incredible.
base of the mountains. They have a whole wildlife preserve there as well. So lots of cool land management going on. And then always great that's like the first chance we start seeing everybody. And it's just really a lot of fun. And everybody leaves there so happy and full. And yeah. And then
Just lots of comments about
Yeah.
all the dishes. Just guests couldn't stop talking
Yeah.
about all the food. And
it's crazy.
It was
And
awesome.
Beautiful photography.
thank
Set
you,
up and
thank you.
did photographs of
you
everything.
guys made it easy. All
Wow.
I had to do was put a light up and go. So yeah, everything was so pretty.
Thank you. Thanks. And then Adam, you want to talk about the cook-off real quick? What did you guys cook?
Yeah, so cook-off, Justin and I had competed a couple times in the past.
Back-to-back third-place champs.
Yep. Notorious third place winners. So yeah, I got kind of conned into doing it again this year. It's so much fun to cook, and I love it, but even more, I love walking around and trying everybody's food.
Oh, yeah.
And every year, all the chefs talk about how we wish we could just get together and cook for each other. And how we miss out on that opportunity to really collaborate with all these different ingredients from across the country. So it's bittersweet. I really enjoy cooking.
You need the chef after party.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
about to say,
Today.
maybe we
that.
should like host that
Yeah.
next year. Of just like have a kitchen space where people can just bring like, hey, come try these tasty vittles that I brought from my place, and like everybody just cooks random things, and we all just hang
be cool.
out.
Yeah, we always try to bring extra. We're supposed to do 5 plates. So it's good. It really highlights what your state has to offer. We have a lot of invasive species, and that's part of the criteria for judging and presentation and how you treat the judges. So it's really a multifaceted scoring criteria. So you really have to be, I mean, it's top notch. It gets harder and harder every year.
Yeah.
They seem to up the bar a little bit.
I think the theme this year I noticed was the difference between like single item dishes, and multi-item dishes. There was a
lot going on.
Yeah. You had
First timer. And
Yeah.
it just like there was so much food at these tables.
You had
Well, they gave the judges a break this year for the first
yeah,
time.
that's the first time. Last year I
They
judged and we
needed
did
it.
not get a break. And by the end, like you're being fed food and cocktails, and you're like, you want to eat everything because it's so good, and you just can't because
Because there's 12 cooks
Yeah.
or 12 states.
Up to, yeah.
up to. And it last year was busy. It was a lot.
It's typically the busiest single
Yeah.
event.
What did you cook?
We used the heart of palm hummus because we were tasting it and it was so good. We decided we had to put that on that plate as well. And we cooked some iguana. So we did iguana tail skewers with mango for that invasive aspect. We had some spiny lobster. We did ceviche and peacock bass fish cakes. So we kind of tried to incorporate freshwater, saltwater, land, sea, the ceviche for the wild citrus. Just kind of a lot of elements that were in the main course, but more, just a little bit more ambitious, I think, for
Yeah.
the competition. Didn't all work out as planned. Hours pretty tough. You think you have all the
It's
time in the
very
world,
tight.
and you get people coming up asking you questions and getting distracted, and next thing you know, you're counting down 10 seconds real slow.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
And they're giving you extra time to plate your dish.
It's definitely a lot of pressure, and it's just it's crazy because I watched two really great meals get almost broke by like not a miscalculation, but just like a hiccup. And the first one was Minnesota was trying to make some kind of pastry dough. I think I
Those
never
are ravioli.
ravioli, and they couldn't get their dough to press through their press machine, and so then they just scrapped it, and then they had to take what they were going to be using with the ravioli and just serve it by itself. And I know they were really frustrated with that.
Yeah.
I would have been too. And then
Well, just making pasta dough.
yeah,
In an hour, right?
is
before.
hard.
That's
And
crazy.
then California chose to make risotto, which I think is always really risky because it takes about an hour to cook risotto. And it's a lot of stirring and a lot of pouring and stirring and pouring and stirring. And then you hope at the end everything's cooked. And the risotto was delicious. It was just like right there.
It was al dente.
Yeah, it was al dente. It probably could have done another 10 minutes, but it was still really good. And it ended up New Mexico in first place, California in second place, and Kentucky in third place. And I think New Mexico came through with a lot of chilies. They did the red-green chili. They served javelina stuffed jalapeno that was battered in blue cornmeal and fried, and then they had javelina sausage on the side, and then they had a stuffed orcs, like roulade with goat cheese and something else.
Probably more chilies.
Yes, I think it was. And then they served like a spruce tip gin drink on the side that's
Real
supposed
tasty.
to imitate the herbal essence of like the higher elevations in New Mexico, which is pretty cool. And then let's see, California, they did a salmon crudo, which was really special because it was from the last season that salmon was open in California, which was really neat. They did the risotto, and what is it? They had, I'm trying to think, that sauce, those mushrooms. I can't remember which ones they were.
Candy cat.
Candy cat mushrooms.
Those were really good.
Smell and taste like maple syrup.
Like on their own with nothing else.
Yep. Just like dried.
Those are
Just
cool.
like, oh my gosh. So that was phenomenal. And then Kentucky did, they had bear sausage, hush puppies. They had full on fried bluegill. And then they had some crepes with some fruits with them.
I think it was persimmon.
Persimmons, yeah. Lots of good stuff. I can't remember
So
everything
much
that
good
was
stuff.
on everybody's
And when
plate.
he says whole fried bluegill, he means
Like
whole
whole.
fried Southern
whole
style.
bluegill.
Yeah. Like
Head cut off,
Crispy
tail
fins.
on, crispy
eat it
tail.
like
You
fried
know what the good
chicken.
parts are. Yeah,
no, it was really good. So really happy to see those come through. A lot of good representation of food. Everybody else did really, really, really well. So
I would say presentationally speaking, I liked Florida's the best. Like you had that snake skin,
Yeah.
like the lobster in the shell, the iguana skewer just poking straight up. Just really, really pretty presentation.
tried to add a little height. You know.
yeah, your guys' food was really good. Really, it's always Florida's food's always really colorful because you get so many
Yeah.
other elements you can play
Yeah,
with.
that's the easy part for us. We don't have any issues getting it bright in color and flavor.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
It's like he said earlier, execution. If you miss one step along the way, you get thrown off a little bit. You get shaken. An hour happens fast.
I would say to anyone out there in TV land, podcast land, if you're not a BHA member, one, you should go become a BHA member because
Absolutely.
tons of great work protecting your public lands. They helped really heavy-handedly in defeating some of the sell-off measures in the House bill proposition and coming up to now as it goes through the Senate. Same conversations are coming back up. So, one, go get involved. BHA is a great organization. Two, if you have any involvement in wild food, like this is the place to be. You need to
100%.
get to Rendezvous next year, and you should compete. Compete, come to the field table, do
At
something.
least come watch.
Yeah.
If you're too nervous to compete.
Bring some tasty victuals, and maybe we'll have a cook in.
The cook after party.
Yeah, the cooking
Chef
after
after
party, which would be it's really fun just to chefing after dark. We'll call it. I like it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so come next year. It'll be a great time. Hopefully here in Missoula, but never know. Missoula's a great town. Also, as well, we got tattoos. Friday the 13th.
We did.
Team building exercise.
I chickened out.
It's okay.
Maybe next year.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
let's change things up here a little bit.
Yeah, we got some questions.
We do have some
do.
questions. All right.
Mix
So
them
what we're
up.
going to do, all these questions came from the booth. My most favorite come from the children, who are also very
Yes.
eager to come back and ask more questions. And we're just going to kind of talk through them, provide some commentary, see further discussion, all that, and we'll go from there. So, what's first?
How to keep track of freezer inventory.
Ooh, how to keep track of freezer inventory.
It was at your booth.
It was, yeah. We have the meat tracker magnet is one way, and then you have the whiteboard. Really, I have a whiteboard down at my freezer downstairs, and then I have a meat tracker magnet, which is smaller. They're like 10 inches by 10 inches, and you use a dry erase marker on both. But the smaller magnet I use upstairs on my kitchen freezer. That way it doesn't clutter up. It's not a big giant.
Well, first
whiteboard.
question, are you doing a chest or stand-up freezer?
I have a chest freezer.
Same, and it's tricky.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even freezer management. So what I do is I put everything in those cloth or canvas grocery bags.
I do the exact same thing. That was my tip.
Yep. I learned it from my buddy Corey, and then I organize my board based on the bags, and I do different colored bags so that I can write on the board which color the bag is, and then I write all the cuts that are in that bag. And usually I separate like your quick cooking cuts versus your roast versus stock bones versus wobbly bits versus whatever else random pieces I have. And that's kind of the way I organize it. And I track everything on that with just like tick marks. And when I grab something out, I just tick it off.
For an upright freezer, basically the same thing. Each shelf is its own protein. When they're smaller, I'll take the little 10-pound meat lugs, mini lugs, label it with the protein, and it's just like pulling out drawers. But the chest freezer can be a little complicated. I like that. I like that bag idea. I haven't heard that before.
Do it solid. You put your waterfowl in one bag, your sausage in one bag, your ready-to-eat stuff in one bag.
And then I generally rotate up. Things I know I want to cook, they get moved up into the kitchen freezer, and then from there they'll get in the fridge and get thawed out. But because usually I'll pull stuff for like the whole week and just thaw it all at once and then kind of go through it. Makes it easier.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely the best way to track it. All right, next question.
All right. This is a kid question.
Yes.
What is your favorite antelope recipe?
Ooh, I am a huge antelope person. My favorite antelope recipe is antelope shanks and praises. Really, I like to just braise them anyway, and I think not anyway, but I like to braise them various ways. So antelope, for those that may not know, carries a very bold flavor. Some would label it gamey. I also will say that you're hunting antelope generally early in the season, and so it's hotter. And a lot of people miscalculate steps with field care, and that then leads to more bolder tasting meat. We'll say I won't use the bad G word. But really, I think the shanks are just a really great feature on it. Don't get me wrong. I love every part of the antelope, but with the shanks, you get all that collagen, you get all that richness and those extra like really bold flavors from the antelope when you do a braise. And it can be as simple as you take the shank and you take some of this delicious Harvested Nature's Big Game Blend and you throw that in there in your crock pot, slow cooker, whatever you want to do, or a pot in the oven, and you put some liquid in there that fills about halfway up, add a little bit of salt or whatever, salt or vinegar element that you do, and you end up with a really great meal after about 6 hours of just simmering it down. And you can literally just like, is it fork tender? No. All right, let it keep going. Is it fork tender? No. Let it keep going. And you have to just kind of play that game with those shanks, especially if you get older animals and stuff too. You'll end up with that. But then from there, you can make anything. You can make sandwiches. You can make burritos. You can put it on pizza. You can put it with biscuits, all kinds of things. So
Get creative.
Yeah, you can get creative. So really tons of stuff to do with it. But at a very basic level, braising shank, soft antelope is my favorite. Okay.
Next question.
All right.
Do you have anything to add?
I was going to say, don't forget when you braise those shanks, that liquid, because of all the connective tissues and tendons, that liquid gives you that unctuous mouthfeel.
Yeah,
which is
unctuous.
something I always
save
like
the
saying
liquid.
into a microphone.
Unctuous mouthfeel.
All right, next question. If you could invite 2 men and 2 women, past or present, to your table, who would you invite?
Oh, like our table to eat?
Yes, I
Can
would
you
assume.
repeat that again?
Yes. If you could invite 2 men and 2 women, past or present, to your table, who would you invite?
2 men and 2 women. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll make it easy. I'd invite my grandparents.
Oh, that's really good, Chris.
That's a lot of thinking
for
this time of day
after
that weekend.
All right, just pick one.
Oh man, I want to meet Danielle Pruitt a lot.
Oh,
hanging out with her, just chit chatting.
Yeah, man, I was gonna go. It's crazy because I've shared a lot of tables. I think I really like hanging out with Jesse Griffiths. I think Jesse would be.
Oh, dude, he'd be up there too.
Yeah, I like hanging out with him. And then I'm gonna go for a lady. Let's go historic. Let's go Amelia Earhart.
Hey.
We want to know what happened. Where did you go? Where did you go? Yeah.
Dude,
You're all welcome.
Greg from Marsh Hen Mill is an awesome guy that I really want to sit and chat with more. So
nice.
He'd be number 2.
I would invite my grandfather. He was a big hunter. He passed when I was really little. And there's pictures of him with a buck in one hand and a bear skin in the other, and just super old school photo.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think it would be really cool to chat with him and hear his hunting stories and kind of what he grew up like. And so that's just mine.
I feel like grandparents would be a universal one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's the easy answer.
Yeah.
All right, next question. How do I make my own casings?
Oh, this is your territory.
I asked you that.
Yeah, I think Chris asked me the other days, have
That's
you
not
ever
my
done
question.
it? I was like, yes, once, just to know how to do it and that you can do it.
Yeah.
But the juice ain't worth the squeeze on that one.
Literally.
So
you're squeezing.
you're taking your intestine, you're cleaning it out, you're flipping it inside out, you're scraping it, and you're flipping it back inside out, soaking it in baking soda and water to get out the smell. I mean, you can do it. I'm sure if the people that have like a technique and process and rhythm down can do it quickly, that's something I never want to have a rhythm doing.
I remember an Anthony Bourdain episode, one of them, it was probably New Reservations because it's an older one. I think he was in Spain or somewhere, and they were doing a full pig cook at like a traditional, like everybody gets together and they break down the whole pig for the whole year. And they did that, and I remember them like running water through like this end of the intestine, and they had it hanging, and it like run through and then out the other, and basically like ran it through till it was clear. Like it was laborious
Process.
When there was
It's amazing how cheap they are. Once you know how the process works, how casings are even affordable.
There was some discussion. Adam Berkelmans and Hank were talking at our pig camp, and Hank's perspective on it was that there's some fat present in wild game intestines that would play over into the sausage. Probably give it that waxy kind of for venison. So yeah, that there too. I don't know if you have in fact made your own casings. Please reach out. Let us know your process. I'm very curious.
That's part of the sausage making that I'll try to avoid.
Yeah, it's easier just
part
to
you
buy.
don't want to learn.
Yes. Also, I'll support local butchers who do it.
Next question. What are you a beginner at?
Oh, what am I a beginner at?
Cooking.
Beginner at. Holy smokes, there's a lot of things I'm a beginner at. I find myself interested in things that I don't know how to do, and then I try to like dive down the rabbit hole of figuring it out. So pasta. Oh man. Pasta making though is on my next up for like learning how to do, is just become really proficient at making my own pasta, and even just beyond raviolis, like some of the hand rolled stuff. I'm a beginner at it. I haven't done much of it, and I really want to learn because I know there's a deep tradition in it. What are you a beginner at?
Life.
iPhone 16.
iPhone 16. I learned that you could make a 3-way call yesterday, but someone had to be like, no, take the phone away from your ear and see that button right there. You just press it. Technology. I'm a beginner at technology.
Okay.
Like, I learned you could write recipes with ChatGPT.
Yeah, you can.
You can do a lot of things with
They're not always
ChatGPT.
good.
Yeah.
Well, apparently AI, the old 1970s Atari chess game, beat ChatGPT in chess.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
if that tells you anything.
tells
Technology, yeah, that's my answer. Technology.
Okay.
I'm not a Luddite, but I'm kind of adverse to adopting new technology.
Okay.
So,
All right, Rikki.
it's nice to learn.
I am a beginner at a lot of things since I'm newer to the whole hunting world. I've only been hunting for like 4 years. So anytime I'm with other chefs, with hunters, I try to absorb as much information as I possibly can. I think it's really great to have a mentor or mentors total. So just approaching every different animal with, an open mind and willing to listen and learn.
Well, on that mentor note, yes, find somebody to teach you how to cook.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal. Just like I said, seeing all of you guys in action. Just
Thank you.
Getting those tips and tricks.
This one's for you, Justin.
What is it?
Best way to cook shanks.
We just talked about
I
that.
just talked about that. Outside that, I think braising's the way to go. You have to braise. You could do the crosscut like on Adam's shirt. Some people will do the crosscut. That's like the ossobuco cut, and you can do it that way. But you're still braising. You got to braise shanks. You have to.
You get the marrow popping out that way a lot easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to break the bone.
You don't get as much marrow on the shanks. You get a little bit, but because they're smaller, it's not like beef. Some of the elk ones you could, but the marrow, oh gosh, marrow, I love it. All right, next question.
All right. How long have you been hunting?
Oh, my whole life. I think I shot my first animal. Man, I had that Joe Diffie Pickup Man song stuck in my head, but in a hunting version. No, I think I shot my first bird. I remember shooting a dove off a power line with my Red Ryder BB gun, and then I learned a very valuable lesson in my house. Actually, it wasn't even a dove. I think it was some sort of songbird. We learned a very valuable lesson at my house. That was my grandfather's rule was whatever you shoot, you eat. And so they cleaned the bird, and it was prepared by my grandmother, and I was taught a very important lesson about the intersection of hunting and food and death and resources at a very young age. And I think I got my BB gun when I was about 4, so it probably would have been, I remember shooting a window out at maybe 5 or 6, but it was probably somewhere in that range the same time that I learned that. But yeah, so I've been hunting a long time, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And I'm still a novice in a lot of areas.
I've been around hunting my whole life. I would go out and dove hunts. Growing up in Texas, that's just what you did.
Yeah.
I would go out young. And then I moved to Colorado at a really young age, and you had to be 12 to hunt big game.
Yeah.
So I had to wait. I had that long. There wasn't much deer growing up in Texas when I was young. It was all private land. It still is a lot of private land leases, but there just weren't any deer in the late 70s, early 80s. And then moving up to Colorado, I remember my dad, every time we saw a deer, he would slam on the brakes and stare at it. And I was like, what's the big deal? And now I understand the big deal is they just didn't see deer. So when I was 12, got my hunter ed certification. That was back in the early 90s. And again, I've been around hunting, but I didn't really start doing it full time till about 15, 16 years ago. Yeah. And then now it's pretty much full time year round.
Yeah. Rikki, you're next.
Oh, I answered this earlier, but about 4 or 5 years I've been hunting. My family did not hunt or fish at all. We grew up vegan and then turned vegetarian and then started eating meat kind of, I guess, when I was around 10 or something.
Yeah.
So a lot of these meats, I've never tried really, a lot of oceanic meat I've not really dabbled in, which is exciting now that I'm in Florida. I get to go try that. But yeah, not that long.
8-ish years for me.
8-ish years. Nice.
Yeah. My uncle's a huge hunter my whole life, but I never got out too much.
What drew you guys into it?
Food. Where
the food.
better food comes from.
Yeah. I think it's becoming a generational standard. People are stepping into it because of the food, which is good because it keeps people like us employed.
Yeah.
And healthy.
And healthy. Well, yes, healthy because of the food. Yes.
Well, and the exercise it takes to go get it a lot of times.
That's true. All right, next question.
So this little boy was super excited to come to the booth. He wrote us 3 questions, but this is the one that he was most excited about. How to make elk ribs.
Elk ribs. Ooh, that's a good one. I know the answer, but I'll give anybody else the opportunity to answer.
You know the answer?
I know the answer.
What's the answer?
The answer. So
is there only one answer?
No.
Well, I can speak to venison.
Yeah.
We don't have elk in Indiana, but
let's start. We lump them in the same category because they're going to carry the same kind of fat, pretty much.
yeah, just parboil is what I've done.
Okay.
Just to get that fat out.
Oh.
And then on the grill.
See, I like the fat.
Okay.
I've developed a larger taste to it.
For me, it's not a taste thing. It's just that wax. I can't stand that wax in my mouth.
The key is you have to eat him like smoking hot in order to not get that like waxy kind of build up. What I do with them is any venison ribs, so this we'll say elk, deer, antelope, is when I'm butchering, first step, I cut them. I'll cut them off the whole way. I baton them. That's my favorite method with the hammer and what?
I'm just thinking about the last time I saw you baton something.
I punched a hole in the plastic table. I think I punched a hole in a lot of plastic tables. Sorry, all my friends out there that I punched holes in your plastic tables. But use a mallet and a cleaver to go through, and I think it's really well. I don't like the bone fragments you get from a saw, so I just go for that, which you end up with larger fragments and easier to pick out. But then split it in half and then cut them into like 4 sections or 4 rib sections. That way that's generally a serving for a person. Yeah. Plus it'll fit in a crock pot. And so I put them all in a braising pot or a slow cooker, crock pot, whatever you want to call it, and cook them down. And then from there, I usually finish them on the grill on high heat so they get super crispy and a lot of that fat will come off. That's kind of generally how I do it.
Yeah. Solid.
Sounds good.
We don't have elk in Florida.
Not yet.
But you do
We
have
have sandbar deer.
fish.
We have sandbar deer.
You have fish. Another question from the
boy.
same kid. What
Yes.
fish is best to smoke?
Salmon. Yeah. Trout.
Like mackerels, your
Mackerel, anything oily.
Oily fish. Oh, and the reason is because that oil helps adhere the smoke to the meat.
There you go.
Fun fact. Strangest wild animal you've eaten?
Oh, man.
Iguana.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
See, to me, that's not strange.
Yeah, I think it's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, strangest?
That's a tough one because it's subjective.
I mean, I've eaten raccoon,
Yeah, you reckon
possum. I want to write a critter book, like cooking
awesome.
critters.
I think wolf, whale, and coyote would probably be
Whale.
Wow.
Coyote was unusual too. Not unusual in a bad way. It was
No.
just different.
very different. So the carcass smelled really, really bad. As soon as we cut the back straps out and walked 10 feet away,
I think that was
smelled like meat.
due to stress from the way it got
Trapped.
caught in a
Yeah,
trap.
it was snared.
And it was just opportunistic. Somebody's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And we're like, "Yeah, it sounds really cool." And we cooked and ate it. But yeah, Adam was right with
Well, the coyotes I've killed down in Florida too have been the same way.
I wonder if it's a stress. I don't know.
They're just mangy mutts.
I love coyotes. They're cool. Cool story.
All right.
Yeah, very cool.
All right.
When making demi-glace, what part of the bone is the gelatin derived from? They even gave us the answer. If
Unctuous mouthfeel.
Any chance I get to, serious, any chance I can say that one out.
The gelatin comes from the cartilage, not necessarily the bone. You'll get elements that come out of the bone through cooking, but it's largely coming from like silver skin, connective tissue, any tendons or things like that. Those typically start to turn into gelatin, collagen to gelatin, around 195 is when that process starts. So then that's why you simmer long and at that lower heat in order to get that to come out.
And when you're trimming your deer and elk, just take all your tendons and throw them in a bag and throw them aside.
Yeah.
And if you're ever making stock, you can
Throw
just
them in there.
take a handful of it, throw them in there, and you can add that body and unctuous mouthfeel.
unctuous mouthfeel. And if you are a bird hunter, save the feet.
I was about to say the trotters.
Yeah, the
we had a guest
trotters.
on that was
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about deer trotter
Yep.
stock is the
Yep.
best.
Yep.
So I'm pumped to try that.
Because there's tons of collagen and connective tissue and all those things inside the
Loads.
yeah.
That's basically all that's there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You
Not
can
so much-
actually
not
too.
so-
I mean, you could go to the store and get like a pig's foot and toss it into your stock if you're making that one.
Ham and bean soup, that's game changing good.
Yeah.
lots of chicken feet too.
All right, next.
All right. Fat for burgers. And I think they mean percentages.
Fat. No, I think probably types
Types?
of fat.
It's an open-ended question,
Sure.
so answer how you'd like.
When we were looking at it yesterday, my answer was yes. Fat for burgers. Yes, you want fat for burgers.
Yes.
It's not a burger unless you have fat. Minimum of 10%.
Yeah, I typically go a little higher. On
Maximum of like 25 or 30. Then you're
Yeah,
looking at getting
30 to-
into
30's a lot.
uncased sausage.
Yeah. Which
But
it
minimum of
argues
10.
like a burger, but yeah. I would say 30 to 40. I like juicy burgers.
That's a lot. That's bumping hot dog proportions there.
I know. But we'll stick with 30.
All right.
There you go.
I typically do 20 because just for a
Test it
straight
out.
grind, if I'm going to not form them into patties that way when I'm like cooking loose meat in the pan, you don't get a lot of that residual fat that you have to drain off.
I also don't.
About 20 for burgers.
I generally will not add fat to some of my burgers. So I'll package all my ground, just no fat at all. And then if I want to add fat into it, I add fat into it, but I'll add egg as a binder. 1 egg per pound is generally what I do. And it doesn't come through with a weird consistency or anything, but it's just you get a super lean burger. It is not as juicy, but that's just easy way because then I don't have to deal with fat unless I'm making
And then
sausage.
you're adding a little bit with that yolk in there
Yep.
and a little bit of protein
Yeah.
for the binder.
Yeah.
Like, experiment.
Pork fat is really
try,
neutral.
Try a couple ratios. See what you like.
Yeah, beef fat would be a good one for burger. You're gonna get that like traditional burger flavor, but pork fat, like Adam said, is neutral, so you could add that in as well. Okay, next question.
Next, what is your favorite kind of meat to eat?
Oh man, that's
I know it's
antelope.
The one that's in a taco shell.
There you go. Duck.
Whatever is served. In
Give me some
front of
duck.
Duck.
I'll always pick duck.
Rikki.
I do love duck. I really, really do. Which leads us into our next question.
Okay.
What duck is best to eat?
We have loads
answer.
and loads of mallards. So
Mallards?
not
that's
Rikki
that's
answer.
basically all the mallards all the ducks I've had have been mallards. Outside of
Mallards?
like a quick woody, but yeah.
I like wood ducks
say wood
and
duck.
black belly whistling ducks.
I'd say wood ducks too for me, but I like
What woodies or teals? I would say.
Teals are my favorite.
teals.
Blueing.
I like all
Green
of
wing.
them. They all
I
taste
don't know.
delicious.
I've only shot blueing.
Even
Cinnamon. Because they taste like cinnamon.
Yeah.
They hate black pepper. All right, next question.
All right. This is our last kid question.
Aw.
I would say last question too.
This one is the most important.
Oh, the
Two more
most
questions.
important
Quick
Yes.
ones.
Two more quick
All right, we'll go
How to make sausage.
well, we have a book, The Art of Venison Sausage Making. It takes you through step by step. Sausage 101. This is actually
here's the link.
part 1. Yeah. I don't know how to do that, but we'll do it.
Gotcha.
So the Art of Venison Sausage Making book we wrote in the spring. We actually started it in the winter and finished it in the spring. And it's like walks you through everything. We talk about grinding, we talk about equipment, we talk about fat, we talk about salt, we talk about the metric system, we talk about ingredients, we talk about casing, we talk about drying, we talk about cooking. There's 30 recipes in there for all kinds of just straight up venison sausage. So many cool flavors, and I guarantee you there are at least 5 recipes in that book that you've never eaten. If you have in fact eaten them all, buy the book, and then message me and say I've eaten all these, and then I will refund your book amount.
Hey,
But I need proof.
need proof.
Proof. You figured that out. No, I think that's the best way, honestly. We worked really hard on that project to get everything in there and really
It's a cool
pull
book.
like years of experience from Adam, years of experience from me, less years, and then all the cool, awesome flavors and experience brought that Adam Berkelman brings to the table as well. So it was a fun book. And it's part 1. Part 2 will look some point in the future to do, and that we're going to go into curing and some of the more advanced techniques. But buy part 1, get it under your belt, do it for a little bit, and when part 2 comes out, you'll be ready.
I'm excited to get through it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Thank you.
All right. Last question. Who left their cookbook at the Benchmade booth at the Rendezvous?
Yes. So, who are you out there? Who are you?
The book was returned back to us from Benchmade. They held it for a day. It was left on Saturday. But they returned it to us and explained that someone had just bought it and left it there. So
Oh no!
So
if you're
if-
missing a book,
Yeah, if you're missing a book and
you
you
like
bought one at
Benchmade.
Rendezvous, and you would first thank Benchmade, but second, we have it, but you have to be on the list. So not anybody can just say, hey, I did it. I've got the names of people who purchased books. So if you left your book and you're missing it, we're sad for you too, and we want you to have the book. So send a message on Instagram or shoot us an email at whatscooking@harvestingnature.com. But with that said, I guess two lines, final thought.
I don't want to go first.
Rendezvous was exquisite. If you haven't been, you need to come.
Okay.
The field to table dinner specifically.
Shanks and praises.
Shanks and praises.
Go.
That did not give me enough time. It was great to see everybody, and I'm looking forward to going next year.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to go home and sleep in my own bed and see my family. And but probably the best time of the year here with so many awesome people, so much awesome food, and I love the fact that we can all come together to support the protection of public lands, which is super important right now. Think of it beyond just a place to go and access. Think about the food security it brings. Think about the recreation, the mental healing that you can get from nature. All these things happen on public land, and you are the owners, and we want to stay the owners. So with that, thanks everybody for listening. Wherever you enjoy your podcast, punch that 5-star button. Leave us a review. Tell us we're doing right, or tell us we're doing wrong. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.